Hi guys, and welcome back for another episode of Wake Up CX. Before we start, just want to point out today I'm wearing my TLC t-shirt. If you're not a member already, you should check out the Team Leader community. I'll drop a link in the comments when I get a chance. It's a great place to be, and the people there will be a great resource for you. They do regular lives and regular shows and masterclasses and things like that that give you great insight. And on top of that, there's topics running throughout the day, so if you ever have a question, just post it up and you've got a huge range of people that will assist you and support you in that. So do check it out if you're not already a member. And if I've not mentioned it to you directly or reached out to you, it is a really good place to be. So yeah, check it out, it's cheap and it's well worth your money. So this week's topic is in the frame of the Rugby World Cup. As a huge rugby fan, this is the highlight of my 4 years. I love it when the Rugby World Cup shows up, and it gives me something to watch every weekend for the foreseeable, which is great. Now, the reason why teamwork is so important in the Rugby World Cup is because you need to rely on the depth of your squad to make sure you're capable of withstanding all those injuries and things and setbacks that you may have. You need to have people capable of working together and complementing each other so that you bring out their strengths. There's no point having a lightning fast guy on the wing if nobody ever gets in the ball. You need to play to your team's strengths, and that means reflecting on what's in your team and doing the best. But at the same time, you also need to be thinking about what your opposition's doing so that you can play against their weaknesses. Now, when I have this conversation, I'm not going to talk rugby all the time because a lot of you people probably don't like rugby, don't watch rugby, and you'll get lost in the conversation. So instead, we'll frame it in the contact centre because most people have worked in or will work in a similar sort of environment. So, for this video, I'm going to focus on 3 key topics. Now, the first one is creating the environment. So, within the contact centre, you'll have people that are at all different levels of the business. You'll have your reps, you'll have team leaders, you'll have quality analysts, you'll have your business planners, your operations managers, your MI analysts, your finance team, everybody, all the way through from ground level to your CEO at the very top of your board. Now, if you create an environment that doesn't encourage people to participate in the conversations and guide in the path of that business, you will find it will eventually struggle. Now, that struggle can manifest itself in many ways through high attrition rates or just constantly failing to meet your SLAs, missed targets, missed deadlines, constant disputes and complaints, low quality scores. It will show itself one way or another. There's no way of avoiding this. If you've got a really bad environment, people will not deliver into their roles. So, how do we create a positive environment that allows people to deliver the best? Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to recognize that your environment will have many different personalities. And some of these personalities will be quite big and quite dominating. And then you'll have other people that can be quite quiet. And you need to expect this. People are all different. But you need to find a way of ensuring that everybody's allowed a voice, and those voices come with equal measure. Now, when you have conversations and meetings, you may be best to appoint someone to, just to steer things in the right direction, to make sure that if someone's sat at the end of that table not speaking, that you pause things and say, do you have an opinion on this? What are your thoughts? And maybe they're not going to speak up in the meeting. So you find a way of asking them after. Have a word with them, take 5 minutes aside, just have a chat, find out what their thoughts on. Maybe they don't like speaking in a room full of people. That's absolutely fine. You need to find a way of listening to everybody and to consider them all with equal weight. Now, it's not to say people won't have experience and people won't have strengths that you need to listen to and you need to consider. But you do need to make sure that everybody there has a voice. Now, the second part is about giving people the tools they need to thrive and survive in the business. But it kind of links quite closely with the first one. Because when it comes to procurement of tools and software, more often than not, in my experience, I end up meeting with 2 or 3 people that are senior level, say operations or above. Maybe an IT guy might be in there from a technical perspective. And these people will lead the conversation around what they need the business outputs to be, which is great. We need to understand the path of what your business wants to achieve so that we can provide a tool that will help deliver that. But equally, these people aren't working on the front line very often. They're quite detached. They maybe know what's going on. They might even work in the same sort of area, but they're not facing the same problems day in, day out. They don't use the technology in the same way. So just as we want to get everyone to have an opinion when it comes to the meetings, when it comes to procuring the tools, get people from different levels involved. If you're going to bring in a new dialer or a new CRM, get a call rep on the phone, get a QA analyst in there, get your business planner in there, get someone from each area, and try to vary the amount of experience they have as well. I would always recommend, where possible, to bring someone that's got less than 3 months experience in your business. Why? Because they have a whole host of experience outside of your business. They will see things completely fresh. They will not look at it from the same perspective of, this is how we've always done it, so this is how we'll do it moving forward. So often when procuring technology, and especially when you're changing from one tool to another, they come into the meeting as, this is what we currently do. We need to do the exact same thing, but better. Which basically means that you're going to create the exact same software to do the exact same thing, and you're going to have the same problems that you already have. So you're going to switch from one tool to another tool that does the same thing, doesn't fix your issues, or maybe it's a little bit more stable, but it doesn't fix your problems. And you're just going to be back to, sourcing new software 6-12 months down the line. So when you are procuring new tools and new technology, make sure that you go in there with, what do you want the output to be? Yeah, you need to know how you currently do things, but where in the process is broke? What isn't working for you? What's taking you to the point of changing software? Maybe this tool that you want to replace is absolutely horrendous for the operations team, but your call handlers love it. Maybe they're finding it's really easy to use, and it's the reporting backend that you need to change. So different people will have different takeaways, things that they're looking for in the tools. So make sure that everyone gets a voice, so that you don't buy a tool that's great for one group but horrendous for the other. Because all that tells them is that you don't really care about their experience at work. If you're buying tools that don't service them, or they don't get input on it, they're quickly going to feel detached and not like you care about them. So that also, tailors to that bad environment. So there's the environment and your procurement for the 2 things. Now, the third, again, it's the same again, because it's teamwork. If you want your team to thrive and your team to grow, you need to be listening to your entire team. You need to be focused on ensuring that everybody delivers into this business. But that comes with a mutual respect that needs to be developed. Now, I'm guilty of this as well. And in the past, when I started out, I was quite quiet. And I developed a little bit of confidence through some experience. I'd handled things, I got good feedback, great quality scores. And I was like, yeah, I've got this, I've nailed this, I can handle calls, it's not a problem. And then progressing to a team leader and then moving on to other roles within the business, I gained sort of a wider scope and understanding of the business itself. And I started to get a bit cocky. And I started to think that my opinion outweighed other people's because, I came from years of experience. I've done this, I excelled at it, Obviously my opinion's better, my perspective is better than yours. You've never done it before. Of course I know more, I know better. Listen to me, do it my way. But that's stupid. And it took a little bit of time for me to reflect on myself and how I was going and how I thought people were starting to see me, to realise this complete wrong way to approach situations. You need to be inclusive and allowing other people to have an opinion, to listen to what they're saying, to give weight to their perspective. And one of the things that we often see is the divide between your call handlers and the CEOs and the operations people. And they seem to think that these are 2 different things. and they go to war with each other, you know? Like, you've got people that see the CEOs and the founders as these evil people that are just trying to suck your life out of you to make money off of your hard work. And then you've got the people on the bottom that are earning less money, like, well, you wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for us, and, you know? And it just becomes this really nasty thing, especially in larger corporations. But at the same time, if you're a call handler and you go home at the end of the day, you might be worried about your rent, you might be worried about your mortgage, your bills, what have you. Now, yes, that's a worry we have, and you have a bit of job security, so you've got some sort of comfort in that. Then consider it from your CEO's perspective. They're not worried about just their own bills, although yes, that's a factor. But these guys go home and think, you know, how do I ensure that these 100 people I'm employing still have a job a year from now? They're the problems that they're thinking about. So they're not just worried about one person's mortgage, they're worrying about everyone's mortgage. You know, and it's a huge amount of responsibility. So when you see one of these people fly off their handle when something goes wrong or if there's a big mistake, yes, we would like them to have a measured approach and to take things a little bit calm. But these guys can be under immense pressure. And it doesn't make sense for there to be any animosity between the two. Because whether you are, what's the phrase now? Whether you're a king or a little street sweeper, sooner or later you dance with a reaper. Famous quote, but it's one of those things. It doesn't matter. We're all in this together. Whether you're the founder, the CEO, whether you're the core rep, the TL, the business plan, any role you take in that business, we all have one goal. That's to drive the business forward, to create a stable environment for us all, to provide us with job security, to deliver for our customers. The better we do, the easier the job gets. The better we perform as call handlers, the less complaints we have to deal with, the easier it is for the managers, the easier it is for you. You know, it's so much simpler if you're all working cohesively towards that objective. So making sure that you try and address that and stamp out any of that animosity as soon as you start to smell it, as soon as you see it around the office, deal with it. Don't let it fester, don't ignore it, just get on top of that straight away. That's it for this week's episode. It's a little bit long, so I hope it's been worthwhile, and I hope you can share some of your experiences. What are your key takeaways when it comes to teamwork? And if you're watching the Rugby World Cup, are you back in Wales? If not, what's wrong with you? Who are you back in? Try and defend that position because you're wrong. And anyway, see you next week, and I hope you've enjoyed this week.